nothing left for me to hate, so I can lay me down, my brothers, on the ground. I bled today until Coyote comes to raise me up and carries me
We're back. Hello and welcome to the Scottish Rugby Podcast. I hope you're all well. I'm Craig Manson. I'm hosting tonight, and it's been an interesting summer, and we've had a bit of a break. We've had a couple of podcasts in the middle of it, which some fantastic gentlemen have been looking after, and we've had a couple of Patreon podcasts. A couple of wee podcasts here and there, but we are back now for the latest season, as it's about to get underway as of this weekend. So we thought we'd better get started and say hello. Thank you for joining us, and joining us tonight is the man himself. Also got a bit of a white shirt on, and he was away learning how to be a racist earlier on. Was that what it is? Are you starting to paint your roundabouts in Fruki? Jonny McGinty, how you doing?
Literally the opposite, actually. And I've decided to what my class would call up my riz this year and start wearing a shirt to work occasionally. So you've caught me on a shirt day.
And also the original Inverness throbbing purple monster is poking up here in my view. Alan McDonald, how you doing?
I'm very well, Craig. I'm not sure I'll recover from that introduction.
You realise that this is an audio format. No one knows he's got that purple top.
It's nobody get to see the video that he's got his purple shirt on. So
I just invite people to the live stream, so maybe someone might see the pink pony prop.
Looks like there's four viewers, but that might just be the bots that are watching us. So you never know. So how are you doing, gentlemen? How's your summer been? And I know you've had a couple of pods during the summer, but how's your summer been, Jonny?
Yeah, good. Busy as usual. Went away on holiday with the kids. Went away on holiday with myself. Did a bit of rugby coaching. Back at work, feels like I've never been away. So no, it's been all right. Plenty of rugby to watch over the summer, so that's always nice.
Absolutely. And Alan, have you relaxed and had some time to yourself?
I have indeed. And my son has started playing rugby again, which means the cricket season is finished. So I now have swapped watching him play cricket on a Sunday for watching him play rugby on a Sunday. At least I know a bit more about rugby.
Did you have the 4-week overlap that we had, where it was we had cricket training on a Friday night, rugby training on a Sunday morning, then every second Sunday you had to choose between his rugby match and his cricket match?
No, we haven't had that. I think rugby wasn't getting a look in until cricket had finished, but I'm driving him through to Huntly every Monday night for winter net, so that's a 3.5-hour round trip. So and nothing to do in Huntly.
Look at Manson with his grown-up child, captain of Stirling Uni second 15. By the way, don't think I didn't notice that.
Oh,
and he's
superb.
Just like Manson's rubbed his hands of any sort of having to drive anybody anywhere.
Yeah, absolutely. That's
gleefully on.
That's funnily enough. It's I was speaking to David from the Scrum of the Earth today because he was we were going to try and do a UFC preview, and I couldn't take part because it's the first time I've actually had some pressure on me to do something, because I was working late last night and unfortunately missed going to Nando's with Darcy, who's just turned 16. And so we're having a special steak and chips night tonight in honour of her birthday, so that I could spend some time with her. But it's been an odd summer for me, actually. It's we've as you guys have all known, it's been a bit difficult over the summertime. So it's great to just get back and not to be thinking about anything other than a bit of rugby and having a good chat with my pals. So it's really good to be back. Our podcast, well, you're welcome to the Scottish Rugby Podcast. We are brought to you by the Scottish Rugby Blog. Our podcast is part of the Sport Social Network, and so don't forget to give us a follow or a like on your favourite podcast app. If you're watching on YouTube, please hit the subscribe button, and don't forget to give us a follow on social media, where you will probably find that Jonny is at the helm upsetting the Welsh. You can find all the links on our site, www.scottishrugbyblog.co.uk, and there's been some really good articles written. In fact, I think there's one from a certain Johnny McGinty as well, Alan, is there not? On the blog site, so that'll be interesting. Yeah, I know. It's like he's spreading his knowledge not only to the children of Fife, but also to everyone else with rugby.
Point of order.
Your face.
I'm not just winding up the Welsh anymore. The Irish and the South Africans are getting it as well.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah. If you're listening on Apple and like what we do, please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. If you'd like more content and want to support what we do, we do this section, and then we move on to our Patreon section. You can subscribe to our Patreon from just £3 a month, and that gives you access to our super secret Facebook group in the second part of tonight's podcast, as well as Patreon exclusives, and also the well-documented Hands in the Ruck. So we will see how we get on. So we'll better rattle on, guys, because I know for a fact that at 40 minutes I've got to, Rory will get antsy if I don't get it to 40 minutes and get it all edited right. So we'll move on. There's been a few bits and pieces of news over the time that we've kind of been on and off over the summer. First nice bit of news is Holly Davidson is refereeing the World Cup final. That's pretty damn good for Holly, and not that I'm saying she should actually be reffing any international game. No, it doesn't have to be just the women's game, but the World Cup final is pretty good, Johnny.
Yeah, excellent, and like nobody more deserving of it than her. We might come on to it during the World Cup review, but for this to be such a great advert for women's rugby and the most watched Women's Rugby World Cup and all the great things that have happened, I think quite a few people are perhaps fairly taking aim at the standard of officiating, and Holly has once again this tournament been head and shoulders above the rest. So a well-deserved final for her, and like you say, hopefully we'll see her in more and more high-profile games the next couple of years.
Yeah, and Alan, did she not referee the World Cup final in New Zealand?
I think that's right.
Second person in history to referee too.
Yeah, second person to do so.
Is that when England got beat?
She sent someone off. There was a lot of very upset English people that there was a Scottish person refereeing the World Cup final and someone correctly got sent off. So we'll see what happens this weekend.
Yeah, well, moving on from us upsetting all of our neighbours, Glasgow have been a bit busy over the summertime. Not only have they signed a few players, but Franco Smith has extended his stay for another 2 years. Al Kellock leaves to become involved with the pathway. I've forgotten exactly what his my notes didn't go as far as telling me what he's actually going to do.
High performance director, I think.
High performance director, yeah. And then Kenny Brown is moving up from the sort of the management side of Glasgow Warriors up to the big job. So Glasgow fairly doing a fair few bits of manoeuvring around, Alan.
Absolutely. I think we should be calling Al Kellock and his new post the new Sephora, NEW Sephora. Johnny, that's a pound in the pun jar.
Yeah,
sorry.
You're damn right.
At the end of the month, we'll send it to My Name's Doddy. We'll just keep a tally.
And Jonny, as a fully fledged Beach, your thoughts on Franco Smith staying?
I think we all know the answer to that. I could not be happier. Glasgow continued to get better under Franco. All the noise out of the team the last couple of weeks suggests that they're confident they're going to get better again. He's got the squad ticking in a way that nobody's had for a very long time. So, yeah, overjoyed. Great piece of business as far as I'm concerned.
Moving down the M8 or across the M8, there's not a massive amount of news coming out of Edinburgh at the moment. They've not even announced the team for Saturday at the moment. But Magnus Bradbury has been announced as Edinburgh captain for the second time. I really, he does. If young Mr. Anderson was here, he would be saying something rude about Magnus Bradbury at some point. I can hear him all the way from Tbilisi telling us, saying something about Magnus Bradbury. But I really think it's someone who deserves his second chance at captain, and I think he's going to do a good job. But looking from the outside in, Jonny, your thoughts on Magnus being announced as Edinburgh captain? And I would rather not talk about his original captaincy time.
See, it's a tricky one. Obviously, without talking about it, it wasn't the most successful or perhaps glowing part of his career. But coming back, I actually don't know who the other outstanding candidates at Edinburgh are. So I think he's probably a worthwhile bet. I think, he's going to be a main part of the squad for the majority of the year. I think, you don't want to say this about somebody before the season's even started, but looking at the back row position, he'd be a very outside bet to be away with Scotland for any point of the season. So he's going to be around with Edinburgh. He's an experienced player. He's well known. He's obviously well liked. I think he's the sensible pick.
Absolutely. And Alan, your thoughts on Magnus as captain?
Yeah, I mean, he's got a second chance that he might not have thought he was going to get. So I quite like that for people, because he's presumably got something. I would imagine he feels he's got something to prove in this role. He's older and a bit wiser. As Jonny says, at the moment, it doesn't look like he'll be away for Scotland, but he might have the opportunity to influence that. So I think he's got quite a lot to fuel him in the role, and that could be quite good for Edinburgh.
Yeah, I think definitely the trip down to Bristol for 2 years has definitely made it, matured him, and I believe he's just got married over the summertime as well. So congratulations, Maggie and Mrs. Maggie. It's great for him, and I think that's just going to help him mature a bit more and really get into the role. I think,
unlike a lot of people,
absolutely heinous looking rugby weddings over the summer. By the way, we'll maybe save that for the Patreon half.
Yeah.
Some of the get up. Oh my word.
But I think, unlike a lot of signings for Edinburgh or re-signings for Edinburgh that we complained about, Bradley didn't come back with his tail between his legs. He came back as having made a success of himself at Bristol and having been a good member of the squad. And I think that's very different to a lot of the re-signings that we've moaned about for Edinburgh.
Yeah, absolutely. We've kind of left this last bit of news because it's going to drift into part of the conversation that we're going to have about the World Cup. But first of all, Lisa Coburn, Katie Mattinson and Jade Conkle have all retired from international rugby after the end of the World Cup. 3 players, especially Jade Conkle, who are going to be missed dramatically from the Scotland squad. This all comes along with the news just yesterday or today. Was it this morning or was it yesterday?
This morning.
It was this morning, actually. That the SRU have finally confirmed that they have given out 35 contracts for the 25-26 season. 17 full contracts within the PWR and the French League with players who are playing within PWR and French leagues. 11 full contracts for players playing in Scotland, 7 development contracts, and 15 further emerging players supported by SRU, which means they're getting to use the gym. So an interesting one. I think, Jonny, we were going to talk a little bit about it, but you made a fairly salient point. And if you want to make it now, you're quite welcome to, about maybe coming back and talking about it later.
Yeah, I think on the face of it, seems like good news. I think it's worth waiting to see what it actually looks like before we sort of dissect it properly. I am curious about the timing of it. I think now is the time that we should be celebrating a really quite successful World Cup. I think that's what we kind of want to be talking about. I think some of the retiring players are probably related to the contract situation. And I would personally like to see what these contracts actually look like and how they're going to support the players involved. On the face of it, seems like good news. I think it's more than we expected, but a little bit more detail I think we need to see before we can kind of delve into it properly.
Yeah, and Alan, I think, looking at them, one of my disappointments really is the fact of the term. As in, it's for the 25-26 season. It doesn't seem to be, what's the word? For me, I'm sorry, but there's no men's rugby player getting a single year contract or a rolling, having to reapply for their job at the end of every season. So I'm finding that difficult to swallow. But yeah, yourself looking at the contracts, and also a little bit of a couple of words about Jade Conkle, because she's obviously ex-Highland player, etc.
I think it's good that there are more players supported. I'm a little cynical about it, just because there's been more players supported, but they haven't actually spoken about an increased investment. And I wonder if some of the retiring players have been on more money and that's been used to recycle for emerging players. I don't know. But whatever the circumstances of Jade Conkle leaving international rugby, Jade has been an absolutely fantastic servant for Scotland, who has left a number of jerseys in a better place than they were when she found them. And it was a pleasure and a privilege to watch her play. So, I think she's been absolutely fantastic and will be sorely missed.
Yeah, very much so. I remember meeting her at one of the very short amount of times I went, or the very small amount of times I went to Scotstoun, and she'd just been announced as Scotland's first ever women contract, and we then met up again at the Silver Saturday finals announcement. And all the captains there were all from all the teams that were playing in the cup finals, and just at that time, which is 10, 11, 12 years ago, she was just an athlete, and she just absolutely came across as an absolute athlete, fantastic representation for the game. Someone you have to put aside men and women's rugby in Scotland for Jade Conkle. Jade Conkle was an amazing servant for Scottish rugby, and absolutely we'll talk about it now, because I may as well talk about it now. But because I'm not going to get too het up about it. But for someone who was playing at such a high level, to still have to have a second job and be a firefighter, and she went through her firefighter training and also then became a fully fledged firefighter in London while still holding down the jersey for Scotland. That must take an amazing amount of work and focus, etc. So just as you say, Alan, I can only back you up. An amazing servant for Scottish rugby, and she has left Scottish rugby in a far better place. Good luck to Jade and all the other retirees in their future. So we'll move on to the World Cup. Scotland went into the World Cup looking quite fresh, looking like they were ready for the World Cup. And I think, I'll go through quickly the fixtures and what happened through it. I'll just quickly 38-8 against Wales, putting Wales well and truly in their box. 29-15 to Fiji against Fiji. Then they lost 19-40 against Canada, and then 8-40 against England in the quarterfinal. However, they had qualified for the quarterfinals, which I don't know if that was a first, Johnny, but it was certainly they were, going against, especially, Fiji in their time, Johnny. That would be a game they could lose, along with the Welsh game actually. But the Fiji game is one of those ones that they could have easily have lost.
Yeah, and it was I don't know, it was a weird one, because what seemed like a real statement win in the first week against Wales, very quickly you saw Wales again and you were a bit like, oh, actually maybe that's just how people are going to beat on Wales this tournament. Fiji was totally different, and actually I thought that was one of the more impressive performances from Scotland, because how could I be diplomatic about this? Fiji were rotten animals, essentially, and Scotland found themselves on the back end of some very questionable tackles, some fairly interesting breakdown work, and in a sort of way that Scottish teams haven't traditionally done, just sort of fronted up, got their hands dirty alongside them, and kind of kept them at arm's length. So it was a real test, that one, and I thought Scotland were quite impressive in the way, not just in the way that they met it, but in the way they sort of adapted as well to make sure that they sort of imposed themselves on the game. So yeah, it was a real potential banana skin. I thought they did really well.
Yeah, and Alan, I think, looking at their defence has really impressed me over the last wee while. But that Wales game, Wales did okay, fair enough. Johnny has kind of admitted that Wales have been honking this World Cup, but they did throw everything in the kitchen sink at Scotland.
So I think actually there's a sliding doors moment in that game where that defensive set that Scotland had, on their own line, certainly in their own 22 at the end of the first half, had Wales managed to score there, we'd have seen a very different game, and one we as Scotland fans are all too familiar with. The one where it's nip and tuck and we ease ahead and we win, but we really, Wales have got closer than they should have done. I genuinely think that this was a Wales team that were very clear that if they were going to qualify, they had to beat Scotland. So they were throwing everything at that game. I think subsequent games are more difficult to judge, because really the game was, the qualification was gone after the loss to Scotland, realistically. Because we certainly felt that if we lost to Wales, we weren't going to get to the quarterfinals. So having watched a lot of Scotland teams, men and women, sort of like concede that try and then have it a bit close and a bit nip and tuck, that defensive set, and similarly the one at the end where they were just like, no, you're not going to score, we're not going to give in, I thought was great. The Fiji game, yeah, I thought the defence was excellent there, and particularly in the face of some provocation. So I would agree with Johnny with that.
And standout players, Johnny. I've got a couple that I've kind of looked at, but I think they're probably going to be, along similar lines. But anyone to stand out for you that really are displaying world class talent?
Yeah, I mean, the headline's going to be Fran McGee in her first World Cup to kind of score like she did. The finishing instinct that she's got is outrageous. For me, though, I think the two who really stood out over all the games would be Evie Gallagher and Emma Orr. I thought the lines that Emma Orr runs in attack in particular are fearsome, absolutely incredible. She just seems to have a knack for the right angle and the right time. The amount of line breaks that she had is up there with some of the very top performers in the tournament, and Evie Gallagher is just ridiculously abrasive with the ball or without it. I thought she was quite unlucky at points. Saying that, going back to her yellow card against Canada, it was actually a lot more obvious than it looked to begin with. But she is a traditional sort of back row who plays right on the very edge of that, and you are occasionally going to get busted. So I think that's the sort of hard edge that all of the Scotland teams have always needed. So I thought she was incredible, and Emma Orr in attack in particular was out of this world. She'll be on the Lions tour, I would hope.
Yeah, and Alan, that was my next question. I definitely, for me, Evie Gallagher has really stood out, and I would say she's got a very, very good chance of going on a Lions tour. But anyone else stand out for you?
I think it's difficult because Johnny's picked all the ones I would have picked.
Yeah, and I've got exactly the three there. I've got exactly those three written down in my book as well.
But I really like how Lisa Thompson has gone from a 10 to a very, very good 12. She's kept the skills of a 10 and added the sort of like line breaking ability of a 12 and the ball carrying, which I genuinely think has makes her game very impressive. So maybe not standing out, but I really like the role she's taken on in the team.
Yeah, but the thing is, sorry,
not to like bust on about the thing that we always complain about, but consider that she's getting absolutely no support in that area. I thought Lisa Thompson's touch finders in particular got Scotland out of bother a couple of times in this tournament. Yeah. She was making good distance on penalties. She was clearing the ball well when Scotland were under pressure, and nobody's helping her. She's not getting specialist kicking support, and she's basically doing that herself. So I thought that was worth a mention.
And that's what one of the things I was going to mention as well is for example, Fran McGee is scoring the tries. She's scoring because the hands have been far better from Scotland. They're no longer what I would call pedestrian, which I thought they were before. They're running, they're moving with the ball far better, and they look dangerous. And again, Emma Orr, just a quick word on Emma Orr. Not only does she have everything that Johnny's just talked about, but she can drop a ball on her foot and put a ball through for Fran McGee as well to chase onto. She's for me, I think she's actually, and it's weird because she's playing a totally different position to him, but she's a Damien Pinot for me. She's got that same sort of run to him. It looks almost like she's going incredibly slow when she's going incredibly fast, and she looks like she's really relaxed about it all. But she's actually doing things that are quite amazing. So yeah, I can only agree more. I can't agree more with you guys. Those three stood out very well. One thing I will do is mention Molly Pullman. She came on and actually her scrummaging was fantastic. Well, to me, looked very, very good. I wasn't watching it live. I had to go back and watch it again. But on the urging of Johnny McGinty, and she's done great. It's great to see Adele Ferry as well. These are obviously closer to my heart than a lot of other players, so I'm saying no more. I'll not talk about it anymore. But it's great to see them. Molly Pullman is really one for the future.
Molly's carrying is outrageous.
Yeah.
Craig and I were at the very first Women's 1872, which I think was Molly's one of her earlier like top level senior games, coming off the bench for Edinburgh. And when she came off the bench, I remember watching her first couple of carries and thinking, "Oh my word!" And it's continued at that level, and she brought it into the World Cup as well. And you're not going to get a higher level of competition than that. And Molly did not take a backward step when she was carrying the ball, especially tight off of the breakdowns. She is a force to stop. She'll be an interesting one to watch.
That actually ties into the point I was going to make. I think we've spoken about the backs, and they're what gives Scotland the X factor, etc. But the reason the backs are looking less pedestrian is the forwards are generally getting better ball up front than they were before and getting more go forward. Because it's easier for the backs to look good if they're coming off front football.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Johnny, will Brian Easton be missed?
I think that depends a lot on who comes in next. I think Brian's done a power of work with Scotland. You get the impression that Scotland were still improving under Brian and could still continue to improve under Brian, which we can't necessarily say about the senior men's team. If they get in the right person to carry on what he's been doing and take it a step forward, I think that'll be a great move for Scotland. But if they don't make the right appointment, I can see them at best stagnating and at worst going a bit backwards. So there is a really good chance that we are sitting here this time at the end of the Six Nations and saying we wish we still had Brian Eason.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah, and I think Alan, Brian came in just when they started going professional as well. But the work he seems to have done with them, they are with a mixture of different coaches coming in behind them to work on skills, etc. But he really has driven them forward, and he has to be praised for that.
Absolutely, and I will hold my hands up. I thought a while back that he'd kind of plateaued a bit, and I've been waiting for an opportunity to say in the pod that I was wrong, because I think this has been a big step forward at this World Cup. It's a shame that the reward for qualifying for the quarterfinals was getting to face England, but that's just the vagaries of the draw. So I think that Eason's been great.
Yeah, it really has. So where do we go from here, Johnny?
I mean, hopefully we see these 35 contracts being used properly. We see that it's the investment that we need. We get in a coach who can carry on what Brian's done. I honestly think if we'd had France in the quarterfinals, we'd have had a really good shot at beating them. Ireland very nearly beat them, and I think we'd have beaten Ireland. Hindsight's 2020, maybe it's wishful thinking now that everything's gone by, but I think there's 4 teams in those quarterfinals we'd have beaten. I think we'd have beaten Australia, would have beaten Ireland, would have beaten South Africa, and we might have had a shot at beating France. So with the right sort of development on from Brian leaving, and depending which coaches come in and how these contracts get distributed and how they get used, I would be looking at, we've got France at the Hive in the Six Nations, and they've not looked their most convinced in this World Cup. We've looked like we've made a massive step forward. Can we beat everyone except England in the Six Nations next year? I think it's our best chance in a long time.
Yeah, absolutely. And Alan, we've got the WXV coming up. 12
for
teams.
The final time.
Yeah, absolutely. But we're in the top tier. 12 teams playing home and away, touring between September and October 2026. That'll be a real interesting one, Alan.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the really good things, is that we've got the opportunity now for more top class competition for our international side, for our international women's side, and that can only be a good thing. I think getting out and playing more against the best teams, I think that's how you get better. So we have an opportunity to kick on.
Yeah, absolutely. And any predictions from you guys? How do you think we'll do in the WXV and also in the Six Nations next year?
I think WXV, we should be aiming to be in the top half. I think, and obviously a lot of it depends on who's playing who, where, and when. I don't think that we go to Paris and win. I don't think we go to Sydney or Melbourne or whatever and win. I think that'll be a much more difficult ask than to beat them, to knock them off once in a World Cup tournament. But if we get the right fixtures, I don't think there's anything to stop us from being top half in WXV. And we should be top half in the Six Nations. Yeah,
and Alan, you think we'll take in Ireland and take a Wales in the Six Nations?
I think it's going to be difficult not to take Wales. I think Wales are probably going to go through their Matt Williams years in terms in both men and women's rugby. I think it's going to be slim pickings in Wales, despite how much they love the game. Ireland are on the up in some ways. The forwards are looking good, etc. but I still think I think we should be aiming to target to beat in Ireland. We should be, I think if we're not looking to beat teams, then this is a team that we should be thinking could take anyone on their day.
It says quite a lot about Ireland and Scotland at the moment that's the game that Ireland have put in the Aviva next year. That is their big game in the Women's Six Nations this year. So I think they'll be coming fully loaded for that. I think it'll be interesting. But I think you're right. I think as long as we don't torpedo our own development in the next 6 months, which there is all sorts of potential to do, depending on how coaching and contracts go, we should be looking at that Six Nations and I think outside the Red Roses saying we could take any of these teams.
I think it might be a nice pod journey to go and watch Scotland, Ireland, and Dublin. I think we could enjoy that.
I already looked, and I can't remember why I couldn't go, but I couldn't. Oh, it kicks off at like 4 o'clock on a Sunday afternoon. I think that's what I can do.
Okay. So who are you going to say, Alan?
No, I mean I'm now just checking flights to Dublin. 4 o'clock on a Sunday afternoon.
Well, at that we'll finish up for the free to air part of the pod, and we'll move on to Patreon. If you've liked what you've heard and you want to hear more, we're going to go on and talk about Glasgow and Edinburgh getting ready for the URC start this weekend. You can go to, I think it's www.patreon.com/Scottish Rugby Podcast, I think it is, and you can become a Patreon member and you'll get access to more of us blethering about rugby. But thank you so much. Sorry, what are you going to say, Johnny?
I was just going to say this is such pre-season form, like we can't even remember the Patreon address. So happens. And Craig, me and you are both well known for not being particularly enamoured of pre-season. So we've basically just turned up the week of the first game, completely half-cooked. Done nothing all summer.
Nothing at all. No conditioning whatsoever. We've just turned up to see how I get on and see how we get on. But
listen, 4 pints and a takeaway every night is prop conditioning.
Certainly is. I tell you, one thing I would say is Manson Jr. It was announced the other day that Manson Jr.'s new performance coach at Stirling is the one, the only most beautiful prop in the world, Alan Dell. I'm so jealous, I can't believe it.
Does the restraining order mean you can't go and watch Manson Jr. play?
I can't go to Stirling County to watch him play down there in case I bump into WP Nell, and then I can't go. There's also Alan Dell as well. My goodness, it's just going to be terrible. Anyway, we will leave it. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you to Jonny and thanks to Alan for joining me on the pod. And if there's, as I say, if you like what we're doing and want to join us in the Patreon side of things, please have a look on Patreon's website and you can join us then. Thank you so much. Have a great night and enjoy the weekend's rugby.
Bye all.
Bye.
If the sound of Alan pouring yet another whiskey doesn't convince people to come and join the Patreon, nothing will.
Here, that's my third. Behave.
Three more than I've had.
Listen, just because you're all grown up and you can eat your dinner in a white shirt without getting it down, it don't come from me.
Oh, no. There's macaroni pie from lunch all over this. You just can't see it.
And I'll
tell you what I had today. I went to Stephen's today. Not only are their macaroni pies good, but I also had broccoli, cauliflower, and chili cheese pie, and it was incredible.
Okay,
I've got one of them just next door to my dealership, and they brought a fudge yum yum as well, which is basically a yum yum with all the icing around it, all the glazed icing, then like a layer of thick fudge icing on top of it.
Thick fucking layer as well.
Please don't eat it.
I think that might be too much for me. Yum yums are amazing, but the fudge might be too much.
No such thing.
Baines
used to do. Did you ever get a caramel twist from Baines, which was like two yum yums pleated together with fudge over the top? That was banging.
Oh my word! Sorry.
Yeah.
Johnny, how you don't have diabetes is fucking beyond me.
Because I also balance out with loads of like stodgy savoury carbs as well. I'm not just eating sugar all the time.
I don't think
That's
that's how
science.
that works.
Science, mate.
So, welcome to the Patreon part of the Scottish Rugby Podcast. It's great to see you. Thank you to all you lovely patrons out there for supporting us through the summertime, even though there wasn't very much coming through. The guys did, Alan and Mark did do a couple, and I think Ian was with you, did a couple of pods, and we tried to give you a bit of contact, but I got a bit of content, I should say. But it's been an absolutely fucking terrible summer for me, so I really do apologise for not being around. And all these things we were promising to do never fucking came up. It's just
I'm mostly gutted that we didn't get to do my Dream Gigs Patreon special. Maybe we'll still do it.
I might still do that. You never know. We need to actually get everyone together at some point to do it. Yeah, it's let's just leave it at that. I think it's just been a fucking disaster. But anyway, all back to we're not back to normal. I'm not back to normal, but I'm here to get a bit of relief and a bit of time with my pals, and I'm enjoying it all so far. So I hope you're
Nothing will cheer you up like talking about Edinburgh's URC prospects.
Yep.
Let's talk about the only coach in Scotland that didn't get offered an extension this summer.
He did talk. Did you listen to the BBC podcast, the Scottish Rugby podcast, this BBC Scotland Rugby podcast? He was interviewed on it. He's not bitter at all about it at all.
I have a message to Sean Everett, which is: have you tried being just a little less shit?
Yeah.
Well, actually,
Although, to be fair, they extended fucking Townsend. And they didn't
that's
extend Sean Everett. So
I never mentioned that in our news. I should have mentioned it in the news, but I keep all the juicy news for the patrons. But no, he was on the BBC Scotland podcast, and actually, a lot of what he said I quite liked, and I hated myself for it because I've been so vocal against him. But I have to say that it'll be interesting to see. But we'll come back and talk.
Look, if Edinburgh finished the season if Edinburgh start this season like they finished the last one, maybe there was actually some signs that things were maybe sticking together. Whether that was kind of garbage time and other people were just sort of disinterested, we won't know. But maybe.
We're going to wait and see because
at the end of the day, they got to the URC playoffs and they got to a European semi-final for a given value of European semi-final.
Yeah. And
they got to the European semi-final that they were of the competition they were in. It's all we can really say about it.
Well, I suppose but that's a competition now that gets teams from the Premier competition dumped into it. So get the semis, no mean feat at his age.
We talk about John Anderson again.
This is the youngest of us. Full tumbler. It's only my third whiskey, so I've filled it to the top.
It's actually whiskey and soda.
Dude,
don't, because Craig was just about to phone AA in me the last time. No, it's whiskey and soda because I get quite bad reflux. So I stick some soda water in it so the whiskey doesn't give me.
It wasn't the fact I was phoning the AA about it. It was just the fact that you'd obviously had a busy day. You'd had a few whiskies. And you just looked at me as you were looking as if either you were about to fall asleep or you just absolutely just got so fucking bored of what we were talking about.
Oh, I remember that one. Also, we might be in shite pre-season, not done any warm-up work form on the actual public pod, but we've blathered shite about macaroni pies and whiskey for close to 10 minutes now on the Patreon one without starting.
This is what I paid for when I was a patron. That's all I'm saying. DIY chat and blood and buds and macaroni pies on this.
Aye, well, it does seem to be a food-based side of things that we do see. I have to do. I'm getting some recommendations because the current Mrs. Manson and my daughter and my mother-in-law are going off to Brunei to go and see Cordelia's sister over there, and I have to say I'm being left for a week and a half. And I'm thinking, now I'm going to say this, and it's all. I'm not saying this in a derogatory manner whatsoever, but current Mrs. Manson is going through a slight vegan phase at the moment because she's trying to balance her diet a little bit and just deal with things. feel better about our diet, etc. So I've been kind
So
of.
when she leaves, you're going to suck a whole cow through a straw. Is what you're
So
trying.
I'm looking forward to eating a steak pie every night for a week and a half. So I need some recommendations of some good things to buy. Like I've been told to go to Marks and Spencer's and get a chicken and ham pie. Because apparently that's very good at Marks and Spencer's. And
I think
obviously
you should obviously like live blog it, review everything you have every night.
Yeah, like I don't think they'll enjoy my review of my succulent Chinese meal and things like that.
Just don't tell them about the absolutely fucked barbecue ribs you got at my house.
Hey, they were all right actually. They were,
The first rack was all right. The second one was a bit fucked.
I don't want to go around and get a fucked rack from you, mate.
No, that was a one-time thing.
That was a one-time thing. That was in Italy. We don't talk about it. Anyway.
I would like to just I would just like to play my X card. I'm not comfortable in this conversation anymore.
So we'll move on. Glasgow have been very busy over the closed season. Obviously, bringing securing Franco for another couple of years. A few backroom moves around as well. But there's some new players really catching everyone's eyes. Especially people like Dan Lancaster, Kerr Yule, Friend Richardson, and now I'm going to say it, I'm going to try again, and I'll see what I can do with Jari Ogun to Beju.
What's that?
That's pretty good. Ogun to Beju.
So, Johnny, new players coming in, anything exciting that people should be looking out for with Glasgow?
Well, Dan Lancaster's right in to start at 10 tomorrow night, so he is going to be an interesting one. All the highlights so far look really good. The 2 warm-up games were bordering on impossible to watch. So all we've really seen is what Glasgow want us to see. I have quite enjoyed what I've seen of Dan Lancaster so far. I think that'll be interesting. He is also Scots qualified, which is worth knowing as well.
Do you think his dad will come in and do a team talk like to really sap the energy out of the Scotland team alongside? Imagine Lancaster and Townsend together in one.
Be like the 2 old puppets from the Muppets, Statler and Waldorf. Only just
I think Stuart Lancaster would be the high energy one out of that pairing. I think, however bad Stuart Lancaster is, Gregor's worse in terms of that. Do you remember the teacher in Ferris Bueller? Anyone, voodoo economics, and that's Gregor to me.
I think for a Glasgow and Scotland point of view, and the fact that it's going to wind up Manson, I think we need to talk about the other very important person who's back for Glasgow tomorrow night. Do you want to say it, Craig, or would you like me to say it?
I have got it down here. Where is it? Is it in my...
It's under A for Aged Australian. Hang on,
I have here. It's the Hollywood Sharks at the weekend. Dempsey returns. The old Australian returns.
Right, Craig, I think we can't leave your ageism unchallenged any longer. This is unacceptable in the modern era.
He's taken his back pills and his arthritis pills, and he's out there ready to go.
Fair. Arthritis pills is every professional rugby forward these days. So I think.
Here's the question. Though. Do you think that Jack Dempsey is really kicking himself now because the Aussies are so shit that he could have actually got in the team?
But the thing is, like, they've just suddenly become
tell.
Sorry, Johnny, I didn't hear what you said.
Like, because we, at the end of the Lions tour, we said, Jesus, I can't believe that the best that we could produce and one of the more, certainly in the forwards, deep Lions squads of recent memory has only managed a 1-point aggregate win over that absolute dog shit selection of Australia. And then they went out and fucking turned over South Africa, and they're about to turn over the All Blacks, and they're top of the Rugby Championship, and they've done it without Will Skelton because they just let him fuck off back to La Rochelle. Like, I think they've just woken up and be like, should we be good?
Yeah.
It's really weird.
Yeah. I think also to be perfectly honest, I think the Lions, and we're still talking about the fucking Lions, even though it's like well away, ages away. They left a few back rowers at home that they probably could have taken. Their selection was very, well, let's just say, who takes Ben Earl anywhere? They shouldn't have fucking taken Ben Earl anywhere. But that's a different.
But what if you need someone to celebrate a knock-on, though? Nobody celebrates a knock-on like Ben Earl celebrates a knock-on.
That's what you could say, Alan.
He's one of England's best fullbacks. Someone had looked at who England's best fullbacks were, and was Ellie Kildun one of them? And they said England's best fullbacks included Jason Robinson, Freddie Stewart, Rory Underwood, and Ben Earl. And actually,
that was some Google.
That was AI,
wasn't it?
Which is why AI is not going to take over the world. But also, how is it, right, that Ben Earl is genuinely a better shout at fullback than either Rory Underwood or Freddie Stewart? Like, I would be happier seeing Ben Earl at fullback than either of them.
Yeah, because he can celebrate catching a ball like fucking no one. I got a ball! And that's only when he pulled his trousers up. Anyway, so Dempsey returns for the Hollywood Sharks. Alan, we've got Sharks first, Benetton, Dragons, Ospreys. It's not a bad start for Glasgow. You'd expect them to leave them all in their wake. That's
20 points, surely, to start the season.
Yeah.
Watch me eat those words by the end of tomorrow.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm trying not to make predictions because I don't know if you've noticed, my predictions turn out to be like horseshit. So I don't want to make predictions about teams I actually like. So I'm happy to predict the Edinburgh result, Craig, if that helps.
Do you know, actually, do you know what's fundamentally unfair about the URC? And I feel like we should talk about this.
Okay, come on, John.
All of the Springboks are still away with the Springboks Rugby Championship team, right?
Yeah.
Fucking Leinster and their army of genital-free fucking android clones do not need the advantage of going to South Africa while the Springboks aren't there. Why aren't fucking Zebra and the Dragons going to South Africa just now? Send Leinster when they've got to play actual South African teams because it devalues the competition.
But to be fair, though,
let the B teams from the Northern Hemisphere play the South African B teams when there's nobody there. And I would include Glasgow in this. Let Glasgow and Munster and Leinster go to South Africa when the South Africans have their actual players.
I thought you were including Glasgow as one of the as one of the URC's and Northern Hemisphere B teams. I was like, hold the bus. Of course you want them. I don't know though. I mean, like, the thing is, the South Africans have an endless conveyor belt of really large bastards. You know that. I don't know if you've noticed, but it's sort of like there's plenty more where that came from.
The South African teams during the Rugby Championship are markedly worse than the actual South African teams, though.
Yeah,
they just are.
Yeah.
They might be large bastards, but they can't play rugby properly. Whereas the ones who are in the Springboks team are large bastards who could also catch, pass, and occasionally kick.
Large bastards that can't play rugby properly, just as a throwback to Frank Hadden era Scotland.
Well, but they could. Frank Hadden could outlift them, could he not? So he's out.
That was Matt Williams.
Oh, Matt Williams. Sorry, I apologise.
Coach.
Remember, we used to tack up the field like a dinghy into a force 6, and then hope someone would give away a penalty where Chris Patterson might be able to kick it.
Yeah, I've got shit coaches crossing over.
Speaking of which,
take that back. Frank Hadden was no Matt Williams. You take that back.
What was it,
I will defend Mr. Hadden.
I said, speaking of mix up shit coaches, let's talk about Edinburgh.
Well, let's hang on a minute. I'm just going to talk about how Glasgow get an absolute fucking shoe-in the European Cup.
100%.
Because they've got Sale Sharks in their first game, then they've got Toulouse, Claremont, and Saracens.
That was a pun for you, Alan. Did you hear that?
What was that?
Craig said they've got Toulouse, and I said we will.
I think you have to put a pound in the shit.
I'll put a pound in the my name's Johnny for that one.
Give it £2.
But on the positive side, isn't it great to see Glasgow getting to play some absolutely phenomenal teams? And this is
I'm
what the
actually
European Cup's all about.
seriously thinking of going to because the Toulouse game's at Scotstoun, and it's the weekend after my son's birthday, and I feel like that's an acceptable birthday present. To take him to watch Glasgow get fucking slippered.
Yeah, you better get your fucking tickets bought quick because they'll be sold out pretty quick.
I know.
Although they have added a lot more facilities at Scotstoun, I believe. I've seen the press release, and the photograph they used, I thought they were at the Hive because there was so many pylons or what's its names.
But they're not making any changes to gym hall though. The clubhouse remains untouched.
Is it? Yeah, but everyone else gets to go and stand, and there'll be complaints of it from the Weege about the I've forgotten the name of them. The
pillars.
The pillars. Blocking view, so. Oh, look at you being able to listen to the thesaurus that is Alan McDonald with 3 whiskies in them.
I took friend of the podcast Patricia Vieira to Scotstoun for a Glasgow Munster URC quarterfinal, and she fucking about pissed herself dry at the state of the clubhouse. Like, that was the funniest thing she'd ever seen, because it is just if you have not had the pleasure of the Glasgow clubhouse, it is a school gym hall at the back of Scotstoun, and I think it's incredible. But as a regular attender to Tobin's Park, she was less impressed.
Yeah, I was. It reminds me of the local swimming pool that's got like vending machines that give you tomato soup and weak orange juice out of them.
Oh, a Clicks! I love a Clicks Vendy.
So, going down the M8, I suppose, to Edinburgh. Again, some new players catching eyes. We've got, and his name's just gone right. Piers O'Connor has come over from Connaught. We've also got. We were going to get to see Charlie McCaig and Rhys Litterick play, but unfortunately, these guys briefly got to watch them play.
If you paid your £8.
And these guys are now out for the season. They've got season-ending injuries already. Both, and I believe Rhys Litterick and Charlie McCaig were both Scots qualified.
Rhys Litterick definitely is.
Yeah, and I'm sure because is Charlie McCaig not the guy that came up from Exeter?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he is.
And also, the biggest giveaway of all is the fact that his name is Charlie McCaig. If he's not Scots qualified, there's something wrong.
Well, I'm surprised that they hadn't changed it to something really inappropriate down at Devon, but that's a different story. Darcy. So, from what I can see, especially for the first, so we've got Zebri, Ulster, Munster, and Benetton for the first 4 games for Edinburgh, which is just an absolute banana fucking skin.
You get 8 points for that, easy.
I think we'll get more, but the issue we have is so many injuries, and we've got.
Okay, fine, 9. You'll get 9 points.
Yeah. It's going to be a really, really young team, though, Alan.
Yeah. I should mention an early hands in the ruck actually, because the amount of injuries in Edinburgh's side, in pre-season was Brian Dalglish's hands in the ruck. Just the number of players that are out already for Edinburgh. Just wondering if it's bad luck, is it unlucky, or training issues? Yeah, I don't know.
Well, a lot of them have been taking part in the actual games, at the pre-season games and stuff like that. But we've got Darcy, who is due to be back next week, so he's missing the first game. But then you've got Matt Curry suffering from vertigo, and they don't know when he's going to come back. That's a real
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Right. I went through the injury list and I was just like, you what?
Okay, hang on a minute.
Come on, Doc. Tell us.
So it could be part of a concussion syndrome. It absolutely could be part of a concussion syndrome. Or it could just be bad luck, and it's viral labyrinthitis, and it's just taking time to settle. There's all sorts of things that could cause it, but the vertigo is the symptom. It's a feeling. What is it? A hallucination of movement. So you're feeling like either the things are spinning or going from side to side, or if you're really lucky, both, like in the merry-go-round on the ship. And it's pretty miserable. They will want to wait until it's fully settled before they risk him into contact training, so it's just going to take time.
Do you think his mother is taking Tylenol?
You did such a good impression. Genuinely scared.
Genuinely, please do not start me in that because I will not stop. All I would say is someone should point out to RFK Jr. and Donald Trump that everyone who confuses correlation and causation dies in the end, and they should be very worried about that.
So Edinburgh, it'll be a mixed bag start. I think it's going to be just putting aside the jokey 8 points and things like that. It's going to be a difficult start for Edinburgh. I think Zebre is a banana skin. So is Benetton, Ulster and Munster. Well, we've got a chance of either beating them or being beaten by them. That's just rugby, I suppose. It's 50-50. What am I fucking talking about?
People pay for this, right? People pay. And your analysis has just been they might win or they might lose.
You Patreons, you're welcome.
On your backside from the fence must be really digging in just now.
I actually think we'll beat Munster. I'd like to beat Ulster because I fucking hate. Well, I don't hate Ulster. I like Ulster, but I don't like Ulster because they can all they could complain about was Ulster weren't doing very well because they went onto a plastic pitch. It's like fucking crap. Zebre we should beat, but we're putting a young team out and there'll be no Darcy. And then Benetton is the continual fucking banana skin that we always, even Glasgow, trip over regularly as well.
No, John Anderson of this parish would be saying, you've got to beat Benetton.
Talking about impressions, it was like he was in the room.
The first time that he went on a proper Benetton or a joke team, people need to stop acting like they're a team. I think it was the first year of the URC, was one of the great Anderson, Benetton or a joke team monologues. And it was also the first year that they beat Glasgow and Edinburgh in the same season.
Well, they won the Rainbow Cup, haven't they?
And again, people pay for this.
Yeah, absolutely. So Edinburgh have been increased up and pushed up due to their 7th place finish in the league to play Toulon, Castres, Gloucester and Bath in the European Cup. Again, very, very similar to Glasgow. They're going to get a shoe-in. But hopefully they might get to drop down into the Diddy Cup, as everyone likes to call it, and they might do something there. You never know. Just to finish this section up, what are we thinking, boys? What are we thinking about finishing places? Are we really thinking that Glasgow are going to go all the way again this year? And do you think Edinburgh are going to qualify?
Yes and yes.
Yeah?
Yeah. I think Glasgow will be comfortably top 4. I would love Glasgow to be first or second. I think Edinburgh might be like 6th rather than 7th this year. But yeah, I would expect to see them both in the URC playoffs. But not going very far in Europe.
Yeah, I think Glasgow should be not being top 4 would definitely be a failure for Glasgow. I think Edinburgh should be in the playoffs, and I think they don't hope in Europe. This is the problem with you getting to speak first, Johnny. You take all the good opinions.
But Alan, are you joining with Sean Everett? A, thinking that Sean Everett's going to make it through the year, and B, that they're going to be in top 4 because he feels they are aiming for top 4 and they've got a chance to do it.
I think
right. Hang on a second. Who's going to not be in the top 4 for Edinburgh to be in it? I would like Sean Everett to tell me who's not making the top 4 if Edinburgh are going to be in it.
I think listen, a coach is not hiding to nothing if he says we're not aiming for top 4. If someone says, do you think you should aim for top 4? Yeah, we can aim for top 4. I'm aiming to lose a stone in the next couple of months. I'm not going to manage it, but I should be aiming for it.
There are 5, maybe 6 teams. No, I've got that wrong. No, there are 5. There are 5 legitimately really, really, really good teams in the URC, and one of them is not going to be in the top 4. And I'd like Sean Everett to tell me which
And none of
Other
them are
ones is
Edinburgh,
also
is
not
what
gonna
you're
be
saying.
for
One of the
Edinburgh.
5 is Edinburgh. Fuck you all.
Right, can we just be clear that we love the URC? It's a great tournament. We love Edinburgh. Sean Everett's great. Blah 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 blah. Leinster, Munster, Glasgow, Bulls, and Stormers are significantly better than anybody else in the URC. Are we all on the same page there?
No.
Yeah.
No. Edinburgh.
Really?
Don't know what you're talking about.
Be serious.
To Edinburgh with Schumann back, Doohan back, Darcy back, Magnus Bradbury captaining them. Tell you, we're all listen. The nightclubs of Europe are going to and South Africa are going to be absolutely.
Hang on. Like I was like, it's Magnus Brad. I was going to say Magnus Bradbury being back was good news for Edinburgh Republicans, but you said we'd focus on the positive. That's not fair.
I actually think Magnus Bradbury is a fantastic shout for captain, but that's I don't want to be too crazy about Edinburgh in case you think I'm losing my objectivity. But I think he's an absolutely fucking fantastic shout.
Sorry, Craig, did you have objectivity?
Yes, I tried to be. It says in my notebook, show objectivity. But listen, don't start. Or I'll have you cancelled. You'll be your ratings are rubbish.
You know, the first time you did it, my eyes were shut and I genuinely thought it was him.
So, Mr. McGinty, are you ready with the button?
I can be. Give me a wee second.
We need to get on to this. It's that time of the evening, during the day, your dog walk, whatever you want to call it. Alan, I almost got through the whole evening recording, not the evening, without mentioning it. It's the night time.
Other times of day are available. Please insert the time of day is with you currently to Craig's current chat about evening.
It's the hands in the. It's what's been pissing us off, boiling our piss, ripping our knitting, just fucking us off about fucking rugby this week. It's been a wee while. You're also welcome to mention anything you want to over the last 5 or 6 weeks because we haven't had the chance to. But we'll start with you, Alan, seeing as Johnny's stolen all your good ones. What's your hands in the ruck tonight?
I thought you were reaching for a big
Today,
notebook.
whenever.
My hands in the ruck.
So it's both mine and Leslie Ramage's. It's David fucking Nusifora. The whole sort of like 6 minutes is an appropriate amount of time to tell someone they're not getting a contract. Fucking saying that about Jade Conkle. She was a 6 minute conversation. He's like, I don't know. What's more appropriate? 8 minutes? 10 minutes? I'm like, I don't know, David. I have difficult conversations with people all the time. Do you know what? I don't fucking time them. They take as long as they take.
To
Stop making all.
He was busy explaining to Linda Jugang how to prop correctly at the time. If he had turned up in my fucking dressing room and started giving me tips at halftime, and I'm significantly more shit than Linda Jugang, let's be absolutely clear about this. If he turned up in my dressing room at halftime and started giving me tips about how to play, I would have told him resolutely to take himself to fuck. How he thinks that that's an okay thing to do is absolutely beyond me.
He is the personification of mansplaining. It's just, honestly, and I was kind of like, maybe he knows what he's doing. Maybe we should be on board. Maybe we should be positive about it. He was great for Ireland. No, do you know what? Fuck him.
Yeah. Rumour has it that the phrase "God grant me the confidence of a mediocre white man" was written about David Nusifora.
The thing is, though, from being in a sales background, etc., taking someone to Costa or Starbucks is usually the best way to tell them that they're getting told to fuck off. So at least he could have taken Jade Conkle to a Costa or a Starbucks and sat her down and bought her a nice coffee or something like that and had a proper fucking human conversation rather than.
Do you think she's a PSL girly, Jade Conkle? I don't think she is.
A PSL?
Pumpkin spice latte. Do you two never fucking go online?
Jesus fuck, have you just
Oh,
let
man.
yourself straight out of that fucking
Just to be
Jesus.
clear, it's not my thing.
No, 'cause I tell you
Woo,
why
let's roll that back.
Jade's not a PSL girl, because
It's
Jade's
girly. It's not
vegan.
girl. It's girly. PSL girly. Yeah, you know what I was going to say? Black filter coffees, Jade Gongo.
Either that or oat milk latte or oat milk flat white.
Right, there we go. And
Nah, she's no fucking about.
no, so this is the launch of our latest thing on the Patreon podcast. Is what does a Scottish rugby player drink? And we're going to have a discussion about this every
Have we not done this before, or did
Just
we
a
only do the
coffee
cakes
order.
before?
You've talked about cakes and you've talked about
We did
their
it-
their Tesco meal deal.
Cakes, but not the coffees.
We haven't gone into coffees yet.
Okay.
But first of all,
I mean, we could find out because they had a machine in camp. We could ask.
they did actually. I saw that on the. But yeah, I think just for me, just being a little bit more fucking treating people as first of all, as a human being, and second of all, as the legend that is fucking Jade Conkle for Scottish rugby.
Yeah, she should be getting a pastry with her Starbucks dumping.
Absolutely, yeah.
She's
earned
earned that.
A Bakewell tart, a lemon,
Yeah.
one of the, a wee lemon, a Bakewell slice, a cherry, or something like that. Chocolate twist.
I would
Allan
argue
just says
that
she's
Jade
vegan.
should get a sandwich and a wee cinnamon swirl.
I say
Well,
so.
that's just
In fact, fucking push the boat out. Take her to like Cafe Nero or something. Take her to a good one. You can have a cake and a coffee, and by the way, not a contract.
Imagine this week was your contract. See what's happening to it.
I'm having it.
You see the contract and it's not there.
full contract, half contract.
But I mean, like, we're joking, but look, 6 minutes is not an appropriate time to have a conversation about someone's livelihood.
Yeah.
6 minutes is genuinely the amount of time we wasted an hour ago talking about macaroni pies. Like that's what 6 minutes is worth.
You say wasted, but it was macaroni pies. Anyway, but I mean, that's it's, and we're saying Jade's a legend, she deserves more. Actually, a human being, doesn't matter if they've only played 5 times or 55 times or whatever. Actually, a human being deserves more consideration around decisions around their livelihood. Look, professional sport is brutal. It needs to move on. There needs to be decisions. There's not an infinite amount of money. All of that is true, but things should still be done the right way. And folk might be disappointed, and they might be upset with it. But I would lay good money that if things have been dealt with well with Jade, she wouldn't have given that interview.
Oh, definitely, absolutely.
She'd have been disappointed, bitterly disappointed, but she wouldn't have spoken publicly about it.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, I'll tell you one thing, and if there's someone that should be coming in and helping younger players come through the development pathway, that's Jade Conkle. She's done a hell of a lot of work, and she's seen the pitfalls of both non-professional and professional rugby. She'd certainly make it. But anyway, she's going to be too busy fighting fires and playing for the Maserati crew down in London. So and having to deal with the braying fucking Harlequin stoop.
Did you know? I don't want to go over this again, but it was the fucking worst place I've ever been. Oh my god!
What the salary cap in PWR is 220,000, and that is for a squad of 45 full-time players.
Yeah.
So having done the sums, and obviously it won't be an average, but it's an average per player of $5,000.
Jesus Christ!
So people were saying, "Oh, did Jade Conkle not get a new contract at Harlequins?" Yeah, and it won't be. Jade won't be in $5,000, but she won't be in a lot more than 10.
Yeah,
so
she's not buying Maserati.
No, only 10. Only 10 players would reach minimum wage in the PWR on this current salary cap, which is, in fact, less than minimum wage, because minimum wage, I think, is an annual salary of about 25,600 quid. So only 9 players could get minimum wage in that salary cap.
It's ridiculous, man. It really is. Johnny, can you join this world of hurt and
yes.
give us your hands in the ruck?
This has had its hands in my ruck for the last 6 weeks or so. I think it's been mentioned on a few other podcasts, and it's been mentioned quite repeatedly on social media. People who talk and write about rugby are suffering from a severe dereliction of duty. And I'm sorry, Alan, you're not going to like this. We all know that Sophie de Good is an excellent player. We do not need you repeatedly on television and the newspaper to tell us that she is Sophie de Great. You are better than that. It's fucking horrendous. Shit chat. People are paying you for your linguistic. Don't you dare. People are paying you for your linguistic skills. That is the absolute bottom of the barrel, right? Your job is to come up with good words to describe things, and that is a shit word to describe things in a shit way. Sophie de Good is rugby's second best example of nominative determinism after Werner Koch. There you go. I literally just came up with that right now, and you can fucking have it. Because
Johnny,
if I hear Sophie de Great one more time, I'm gonna fucking put something through my TV. I'm so fucking sick of it.
As you know, Johnny, I love a terrible pun that occurs to me in the moment, but fucking Sophie de Great is fruit that is too low-hanging even for me. I
hope that they all heard that, and I hope they understand how serious that is.
Do you know, did you have to put the boot in? But it's fruit so low-hanging, I would put my back out trying to harvest it. It's no, I'm totally with you. It's terrible. And I'm like, I've heard it, and like I've been like, really? A pun so bad that I've been like, seriously? And anyone listen to this.
She's the greatest.
Don't stop doing it. Stop.
She's the greatest. She'll be part of the 51st state soon. she's going to be part of the American team now. She is, like, I have to say, and I never mentioned it actually in the first part of the pod when we're talking about the World Cup, Scotland World Cup, but that game of Canada v New Zealand, if you cannot, like, it's as close to perfection of a rugby game I've ever seen across the whole board. You know, they've just, it was amazing. The way Canada played, and I'm really hoping that's not the World Cup final, because
I hope they can do it one more time.
Was amazing.
The hopes of literally the entire world are rested on Canada being able to do that once more.
Yeah. Just
what story that would be, you with the crowdfunding and
so good.
That's the problem, though. England are going to come along and fucking kick that right in the balls. Or the vagina.
Also, maximum respect, by the way, to Julia Schell for just going flat out straight into motorboating Dr. Rach in front of the TV cameras, in front of everybody at the end of the game. Like, fair fucks. Well done, you.
Fair fucks. It's not that you've not done that before, but that was a different story. We thought we wouldn't talk about it.
Try, Craig. I thought you deserved it.
We're not going to talk about Italy again. But so for me, I've got a very frivolous one, and it's how much Newcastle Red Bulls are going to be the bastards of the Premiership.
I would go down to see them, though, by the way.
Or the Prem, as they want to call it. After they've just signed fucking Liam Williams, and I think they're just going around to find all the cunts in the world and just start signing them for a little while for a year's contract.
I saw the new, whoever the fucking streaming channel is for the championship, and the poster just says like the champ on fucking Fart Sniff Media or whatever, and I was like, I don't know what any of those things are. And if it wasn't for the fact that it was being shared in a rugby group, I still wouldn't know. That championship rebranded to the champ is literally the dumbest fucking thing I've ever seen. Yeah,
but it's like the next thing. Well, they go out and paint their roundabouts. You know, it's just the way it is. It's like, you know, it has to be, everything has to be shortened.
That is a good way of working out the average IQ in a postcode. Is it's inversely proportional to the number of painted roundabouts.
It's a matter of trying to see if it's actually a Georgian flag that they've been painting. And,
That was a good one. I like that one.
So I think Newcastle, I think, are going to be fabulous at some point. But and big shout out to Murray McCallum, friend of the pod, Murray McCallum, because he is just pulling up trees there and has he's got a year to prove himself to get himself another contract with the Red Bulls.
Scored his first try in his 50th game last week in the Prem Cup.
Yeah, absolutely. So dead chuff for him, because especially from when he came on our pod and where he was at that point in time when we started going. It's really great to see him, and definitely I'm going to be making a trip down to Newcastle. Done it before, and been out to Kingston Park, and I think we all should be. That would be an ideal pod run. We might even be able to meet up with Cammy.
I bet you can guess which of our mutual friends, front row compadre of yours, has been nipping my head to go down for a game to Newcastle.
I can't guess. I'm totally not in my head.
Mr. Stalker wants to come with us.
Does he? Nice.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh wow, that'll be an interesting event. Yeah, definitely.
Last time me and him went to a game was to watch Glasgow and Exeter at Sandy Park. And
is that when you were, being controlled by Stuart Hogg?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Anyway, that's a different story altogether. At that, I think that is us for the night. Evening.
Can we talk about one more thing?
Another.
It's just one really very stupid thing, but I feel like we should address it since it happened 2 or twice during the World Cup. We've all played a little bit, right? Now, I will say I'm quite conservative about my choice of underwear in general, but I choose comfy game pants, and I cannot imagine wearing those pants that Evie Gallagher has been wearing for the whole World Cup and being comfortable enough to play a game. I just think if they've been exposed twice, we need to have that conversation. Why are you not wearing something comfier?
I didn't see it. So is it?
Have you not seen it?
No. Is that a cheesy wire?
Evie Gallagher, most famous pants. Wearing. Did you not see? Oh, when she scored her try against Fiji, she got her shorts pulled down about 20 meters out and had on a thong that matches her pink hair, and then she got them pulled down against Canada again, and is like loving I've got the most famous pants in the world. It's been all over her Instagram story and everything. But I just think I'd be wearing comfier pants. I know I wear comfy pants.
Well, the thing is, a thong will not catch the shit if you shit yourself while you're playing. Because if you are,
that's clearly a forward problem.
There are times you put a lot of.
Jonny, I would say that's a Craig problem. Just to be clear,
you put a lot of effort into certain things, and sometimes something might pop out. You never know. You think a fart's coming, and you trust it too much. There's lots of different
Alan, Craig props harder than you is what we've just learned.
Yeah. Although one of the greatest joys in life is farting on your second rows as a prop.
Giving them pink eye, that's even worse. But
did you see? That was one of my favourite moments of the World Cup. Did you see on For the Love of Rugby, Dan Cole talking about going on tour when he was 15 to play a women's team in Holland and getting punted to play for their team and getting asked to play in the second row? And he's a bit, and because Dan Cole's quite funny and he's quite open about it and he tells the story really well. He's like, yeah, so we went to bind in for the first scrum, and I was like, oh, it's 15-year-old guy playing against the women's team, and it's the women's front row and he's in the second row, and he's a bit like, I don't think I can do this.
Just as a wee sidebar, I have to say I really enjoy For the Love of Rugby. I really like both.
They're both annoyingly likeable.
I'm going to have to start listening. I've not been listening to it, so maybe I need to start listening.
Another friend of the pod, Sam Larner, was on there the other week, so that's well worth checking out.
Cool.
Sam's excellent. Well, Sam's got a book coming out as well, but we'll plug that on the actual public pod when it's closer to release.
Well, if he sends us a copy each, though, signed.
Well, I mean, one of us is in the acknowledgements because you've been proofreading the chapters, so just leave that there.
Oh dear.
That white shirt has gone to your head, Mickey. I know. I tell you.
You can tell
the red tie.
You can always tell a teacher, with a smug pumpkin spice attitude. It's just ridiculous.
Pumpkin
spice. PSL.
Sorry, PSL. My apologies. Yeah. Right, on that bombshell, thank you so much to both Alan and Jonny for joining me tonight on the Scottish Rugby Podcast. Thank you so much to everyone who's tuned in. Thanks to our wonderful Patreons, and it's been great to be back, and it's great to have a little breath of fresh air. So thank you so much, and from me, it's a good night, and from you, gentlemen.
Good night.
Goodbye. I don't know what time you're listening to this. I'm more professional than Craig.
Oh, Craig, that was your fault. That wasn't me.
You said good night too.
Yes.
Goodbye, all. Enjoy your dog walk, your drive to work, whatever you want to call it.
You're 3 a.m. terrified.
The most professional one here, and literally all my notes are on a fucking post-it.
Yeah, I've got a really professional book. This is my.
You know what you need to write on the front of it? It's not nighttime everywhere.
I'll tell you, just before we came on this today, I was going through my head. Hello and welcome to the Scottish Rugby Podcast. Hello and welcome to the Scottish Rugby Podcast. Hello and welcome to the Scottish Rugby Podcast. Because I keep doing it, and it's all Alan McDonald's fault. And I keep doing it, and I'm so annoyed with myself. Right, anyway. Thank you all, and love to you all, and have a good night.
Bye.
Good evening.
Bye.
No!
You just did it. You've done it twice. Just say bye.
If I don't see you later, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
Bye. End stream. End stream. Bye.
Bye, everyone.